It's interesting to think that a Rubik's Cube is black once you remove all the labels, like the stickers. It's hard to consider the fact that this is this. Like, you can turn it all you want, but it's still the same cube. I mean, sure, it doesn't have any stickers, but it's still the same cube. But if you were to disorganize this cube, it's deorientized. It's not the same cube in a certain aspect because it's disorganized in a certain way that people don't understand. The same thing happens with society. People don't consider the fact that even though it's in one way or another, it's still the same cube. What? You might be wondering? Well, it kind of works like this. The cube is the same, regardless if it's solved or not. They're both the same thing. This happens with labels. Everyone thinks that, well, he must be some way, and he doesn't look like the kind of person that would, well, be that way. And it's not until you begin to consider that if you remove the labels of a Rubik's Cube, it's basically the same thing, just without stickers. Same thing happens in society, like I just said. People don't see how things work, and, well, they get confused and they just ignore it. When in reality, we should be looking beyond the labels and looking what is on the inside. And I don't mean like getting a screwdriver and uncorking the cube to see what's the core of the Rubik's Cube, which, by the way, this is a white, which is a classic. But I don't think they should just ignore it because it's unsolved, if you get what I mean. People shouldn't ignore people of certain ethnicities because they're of certain ethnicities. Just because someone isn't technically solved doesn't mean that they're not the same person like you and I. This happens a lot in society because people just don't remove the labels. They don't take off what are the stickers and see what the actual person is. Just because someone likes something, does something, or whatever, doesn't mean they're necessarily a bad person. They're not a bad person. Oh my god. Just because someone has their life screwed up doesn't mean they're a bad person. Just because they made one mistake doesn't mean that every other mistake should follow. It just means that their life hasn't been simple because of certain aspects, and you shouldn't ignore them. Rather, you should help them get solved and their issues remade so that society accepts them for who they are and not for what the society has set as a standard. Mainly people talk about this in videos and films and books and whatnot, but you'll watch this video and share it and whatnot, and even in the end, you will look at a black person and wonder, does he have a gun? Is he going to rob me? Or you see another person that is wearing basically what people would call ghetto clothes and just pass them by and ignore them for no reason. But you should consider that not everyone works the same. Of course, some people had to get to where they are by hard work, other people got it easy. Some people are one way, meanwhile others are other ways. But you shouldn't discourage because the inner workings of a cube are hard. Meanwhile, other inner workings are simpler. You shouldn't discourage someone because they don't set themselves with a label rather than set themselves with a label. Just because someone likes beauty and whatnot doesn't mean that they're generally bad. They just don't have a perfect aspect of what life should be. Look, my objective is you shouldn't treat people just because of how they look. You should treat them for what they are inside. Basically, treat it like a solved cube. Obviously, you want to solve Rubik's Cube, don't you? And you want to keep it like this and brag to people that you basically solved it when reality hasn't been solved. But in the end, it's all the same thing.